Good evening and welcome to the 2018 and 2019 Installation of Officers and Jennifer Brooks Award Dinner. We are pleased to have your company to commemorate this special event and to celebrate the service of our distinguished board members, as well as to congratulate Michelle Daly, Karen Diggs, and Elizabeth Courtney for their extraordinary contribution to our local legal community. Tonight we are extremely pleased to have some very special guests and dignitaries amidst our company, and I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce them to you, but I'll just ask that you hold your applause until after I have completed our list of names. We have several judges in attendance tonight. The Honorable Martha Bellinger, the Honorable Teresa Bennett, the Honorable Kyle Brody, the Honorable John Ferguson, Commissioner Michael Gasner, the Honorable Arthur Harrison, the Honorable Jeffrey King, retired, the Honorable Pamela King, the Honorable Christopher Marshall, the Honorable Bridget McCann, the Honorable John No Trong Nguyen, the Honorable Gilbert Ochoa, the Honorable Michael Sachs, the Honorable Leroy Simmons, the Honorable Elizabeth Simmons, the Honorable John P. Vanderveer, the Honorable David Williams, and the Honorable Glenn Yahuno. We also have present tonight elected officials, DA-elect Jason Anderson, Teresa Valdez of Congressman Pete Aguilar's office, Benjamin Lopez, representative of Janice Rutherford, County Supervisor. The Western San Bernardino County Bar Association's past presidents in attendance are Angelique Bonanno, Elizabeth Courtney, Donald Dench, Diane Hartog, Darren Lipinski, Dean McVeigh, David Ricks, Charles Doskow, and Randall Hanna. Thank you for that correction. Past and present presidents from our sister organization, the San Bernardino County Bar Association, in attendance include Michael Scafidi, Tom Dominic, Charles Althouse, Chuck Doskow, and John Lowenthal. Past state president, Jim Hiding. Past Judicial Officer of the Year awardees, Justice Jeffrey King and the Honorable Janet Frangi. Past Jennifer Brooks Lawyer of the Year awardees, Greg Rizzio and Michael Scafidi. Past Lifetime Achievement awardees, Charles Doskhouse and Charles Althouse. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank and recognize our sponsors. The Diamond sponsors include law offices of Michael A. Scafidi, Rizzio Law Firm and Lipinski Law, University of Laverne College of Law, law offices of Fernando D. Vargas, and West End Defenders. The Platinum sponsors include the Honorable James and Wendy Brooks. The Gold sponsors include Eric Fox, Fullerton, Lehman, Schaefer, and Dominic LLP, law offices of William D. Shapiro. The Silver sponsors include Bond Services of California, LLC, Lewis, Brisbois, Biscard, and Smith, LLP, the law offices of Mitchell Roth. The Bronze sponsors include the law offices of Angelique G. Bonanno, the law offices of Diane M. Hartog, the Honorable Janet Frangi, and Southern California Edison. Other sponsors include Dean McVeigh for the floral centerpieces, the law offices of Brian Brandt with red wine, and Laura Starks with the white wine. At this time, we're going to take a break so that we can all enjoy our dinner. Bon appetit, everybody. It's been an absolutely tremendous year this year, and I would like to take the opportunity to highlight some of our accomplishments over the course of the past 12 months. We have succeeded in obtaining approval for ADR to be a low-cost and effective provider for mediation for the San Bernardino Superior Court. We have had a very well-attended and highly successful Eats Meets West event with our sister organization, the San Bernardino County Bar Association. In seeking to establish a mentorship program where the senior attorney mentors the younger attorney, we have succeeded in launching the Young Lawyers Division, which we hope will spearhead the program and make it a successful part of our organization. We have also put together a law day, which we're going to hold on October 20th, where we provide free legal advice in various areas of law to members of our community. I have tremendously enjoyed serving as your president, and thank you for the privileged opportunity to have allowed me to do so. At this point, I would like to call up the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association outgoing officers and board members. Before I move forward, I just want to take a brief moment to acknowledge the people standing around me. These are very distinguished and very hardworking people who selflessly give of themselves every day in every aspect in order to make our organization a success. And everything that we do and everything that is a success for us is simply because of their efforts. So thank you all for all of your hard work and all of your selfless giving. The new officers and board members will be Justin King, President, Will Wooten, President-elect, Michael Scafidi, Vice President, Matthew Taylor, Secretary, Treasurer, and I will be your immediate past president. The following individuals will serve as directors on our board: Kareem Maref, Fernando Bernheim, Angelique Bonanno, the Honorable Kyle Brody, the Honorable Janet Frangi, David Goldstein, Randall Hanna, Diane Hartog, Darren Lipinski, Kevin Marshall, Dean McVeigh, David Riggs, Candice Garcia Rodrigo, and Mitchell Rock. I'm going to hand out our certificates of appreciation. Darren, where are you? Matthew? Diane? Benny? Tom? Angelique? You have one fan? Judge Brandy. Candace. Kevin Marshall. Judge Brody. David Riggs. David Colton. Dustin. Steve McVeigh. Mitchell Rock. Mike Sweet. Will Woo. Fernando Vargas. At this time, I would like to call up the Honorable Michael Scabidi to administer the oath of office. I would also like to call Karima Rep up. I'm sorry, Your Honor, I apologize.
I've always wanted to be the jokes are going to write themselves.
So first off, I want to acknowledge Mike Scabidi. Congratulations for becoming a judge. So Mike and I actually go pretty way back when Mike was working for Bill and I was at county council. He can tell you a couple of stories, but we won't take up our time. I did want to wait to make one a public service announcement, if I may. At the end of the month, we're going to do settlement week at our courthouse downtown San Bernardino. Half this room has agreed to participate as settlement officers. They very much appreciate that. We're going to have about 250 cases come into the court, and we're going to do our best to settle it. If you are interested in participating, shoot me an email, and we'll get you involved. So with that, I'm going to, at this point in time, swear in our officers. And I want to congratulate everybody for your turn and your your continued participation. So I want everybody to raise your right hand. Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm to uphold your duties and responsibilities as officers and directors of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association, being mindful of your roles as representatives of your membership, as officers of the court, and as attorneys dedicated to the service of the public and legal system. Say I do. I do. All right, congratulations, everybody. It's now my distinct privilege to turn over the helm of the seat for presidency to my dear friend Justin King, who I know will be a great president for our association. So they've asked you to speak briefly about, sorry, I'm a little sick, what plans I have for the year upcoming. I promise to be brief. I know we have some great award recipients that you want to hear about. I don't have any extreme grand plans. I just plan to continue the basic fundamental things that this organization does well, whether it's events like this, MCLEs, Toys for Tots, or serving as a resource for other attorneys. One thing new that we did start this year is the Young Lawyers Division, and I have to thank Linda Guzman, who took the laboring oar in getting that together. And that's a group of local attorneys who are 36 years and under, or 5 years and less, or less in experience. And I can remember sitting with Linda, and as we were forming this Young Lawyers Division, I began to think
about what is unique about this legal community that these young lawyers are now joining. I began practicing in the Bay Area, and like many of you, I have cases in Los Angeles, I have cases in Orange County, I have cases in San Diego County, and what is distinct to me about practicing in this county is the intimacy of the legal community, how supportive the lawyers are of each other, and how accessible and involved our local bench is in our bar associations. My grandfather, my father, and my mother all practiced in this county, but unlike then, San Bernardino and Riverside counties now have a combined population of over 4.4 million people. Our local economy and our local legal community has become more and more diverse and more specialized. And the Inland Empire has become, in part, just another part of the greater Southern California region. And we have lawyers that practice here, that live in other counties, and vice versa. We have lawyers that live here that practice in other counties. Additionally, I think now, more than at any time before, lawyers are from households with not one, but maybe two professionals, and both men and women are expected to equally balance their professional aspirations with their family obligations. And so in the face of some of these things, the travel to and from counties, balancing family with work, lawyers can find it difficult to find time for professional camaraderie and mentorship, which I believe are real strengths of our local legal community. So during my presidency, I will strive, as others have done before me, to help this organization grow, but as I help it grow, doing our part to ensure that we continue to foster that intimacy and that closeness that makes this legal community special. So with that being said, I'm going to invite Fernando Vargas back up to the podium. And I would like to invite all dignitaries that have recognitions for Fernando Vargas to come up as well.
On behalf of Congressman Pete Aguilar, I'd like to thank you for all that you do for our county. You know, we need you guys very bad. Our county is in such need of great attorneys and lawyers, and I am so impressed to see the crowd here today, and I'm very grateful to be a part of this. Thank you very much for inviting our office. On behalf of Congressman Pete Aguilar, I'd like to present the certificate to you in honor and recognition of your dedicated service to the legal community, your passionate and distinguished work. Ethics reflects the high ideal and leadership of public service. May you continue to provide excellent legal services to the County of San Bernardino. Thank you.
Good evening, how are you? On behalf of the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors, I want to present you with the resolution that we wrapped up for you. You know, I was sitting over there in the little corner of the attorneys, and I came to realize how close the legal community is and how needed of them you guys are. I want to appreciate it, you know, this year. We want to welcome you to the community. We want to give you a resolution.
At this point, I'd like to present the presidential plaque to our outgoing President, Fernando Vargas. I would now like to invite Angelique Bonanno up to say a few words about Karen Diggs, our legal assistant of the year.
For coming. I just wanted to say how thrilled I am to be able to say a couple of words on behalf of Karen and to congratulate all of the recipients tonight. We have such an amazing array of women who are recipients of our awards tonight, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have been asked to say a couple of words. I've known Karen, I would say, for about 20 years. And during that time, I can tell you that she is extremely deserving of this award. She is one of the most hardworking and dedicated people inside the courthouse, in my opinion. Not only is she the best of the best of the best at what she does, but she exhibits style and grace every single day. She is a true professional, and I cannot thank the bar enough for giving me the honor to be able to say a couple of words about it. Karen, you are so deserving. Congratulations.
I would now like to invite up the Honorable Michael Gassner to also say a few words about Karen Diggs.
So, Karen, I'm kind of honored I'm here, but I'm alone. Would you join me for a second? So first, a tremendous honor, but I would first, before we introduce you to everybody, I'd like to introduce your husband, Douglas. Marie, and I understand you traveled a great distance. And you're with your all-star team of judicial assistants. Didn't forget Amber. So let me start by saying Karen has been a court reporter in family law for 30 or 31 years. Long time. Except for an 8-month detour in civil, where I found myself in a different place. I can tell you that Karen started working with Judge Ingrove and was with Judge Ingrove for about 8 years. Karen's been with me for my entire time on the bench, which is now over 22 years. Always willing to stay in family law. I don't know if that alone is something deserving of something. And putting up with my bad jokes the entire time. I can tell you that when I first joined the bench, I got a call from Judge Ingrove when we were having tryouts for court reporters. And Judge Ingrove said to me, "I'd like you to take Karen for a reporter." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, I'm retiring in a few months, and I want to make sure Karen has a home." And so we completed tryouts, and we selected Karen. And we made sure that Karen, you got to remain with Judge Ingrove through his retirement. Karen has really been with us for 22 years. I can tell you that she's the best of the best of the best. Very quiet. Unless I'm around, right? And I can also tell you that she told me because reporters are quiet, they never get recognized. Karen, we're going to break that rule. I've got the story straight. Make sure you ask her about cheese, the telephone, and Judge Ingrove. Do we have something for Karen?
On behalf of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association, I would like to present Karen Diggs with the Legal Assistant of the Year Award. Congratulations.
is not there. So a lot of times we're not even noticed. So to be recognized and to be noticed, to be nominated and to be voted in means a lot. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to all those who are here tonight.
I would now like to invite Barry Brandt up to say a couple words about Elizabeth Courtney, our Lifetime Achievement Award recipient.
She asked me to do it because I've known her so well. I know all the details. Gosh, it is, I've known you, what, 25 years?
38.
I do want to tell you about the story we know about her. Remarkable background. She spent a year studying undergraduate, I think it was in Hong Kong.
Mexico City.
And then after she finished her law school training, it was in heady times. The LA cases involved the busing. And so at that time she was clerking on the law and motion calendar for Judge Weiner.
Judge Egley.
Then after she had gotten done clerking, she went to work for Melvin and Myers.
Jacoby and Myers.
She received her Certified Family Law Specialist recognition in 1990.
87.
She was recognized as a super lawyer in 2015.
2010.
She's a 4-time past president of the East-West Family Law.
Anybody? Yes.
5 times.
She has been a delegate to the state bar for 30 years.
40.
Her most cherished award, I think, that was being awarded Miss Chickadee at the Lampo W.C. Fields event. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Brian.
But seriously, how do we, in 5 minutes allotted to you, do I do justice to this wonderful lady? And I thought of kind of a gimmick. I said I could take each letter of the name Elizabeth and use those as an introduction, some descriptive words. And then I realized Elizabeth is kind of a long name. I really got hung up when I got to the B. Well, listen, I'm a writer. I thesaurus by my kids. And, but you know, for me, I had balancing, the way she juggles so many balls in the air, banter. Have you ever had a discussion with her without getting some smart remarks back? Bargain. Have you ever shopped with Liz? I did in Paris at the flea market, and they kept the place open because there was so much going on. They literally did. And finally, Paris did. Of everything else, Liz is the lawyer. But too many letters, so I'll just do it for Liz. And so, L is loyal. She is so dear and loving to her friends, and we all recognize her for that. I is for intelligent. She's as bright a person as I know. And finally, Z for zest and zeal, her love of life. It is such a pleasure, Liz, to be here.
I'd now like to invite Mitchell Roth up to say a few words about Elizabeth.
It's going to be really short because I'm going to be 180 degrees opposite of the person standing to my left. Bernardino and I are over there taking bets on how long her acceptance speech is going to be. I've known Liz for about 25 years, I would say. She is a pillar of the community. She has won every award in family law, a mentor to many people. has one of the just most collegial personalities you have ever met, always in a good mood. And I'm going to regale you with a story that is true. There was a firm, a small firm in Rancho Cucamonga, a family law firm and civil firm, about 8 years ago. And the partner met with the associate, and he dumped off a file that wasn't that prosperous for that firm, and said to the associate, I'm going to give you this case. I think it was back in the days they were called OSCs and not RFOs. And I want you to look at the file and come back to me at the end of the day, and we'll discuss what you have to do. And so the person says, well, who's the opposing counsel? And the partner says, it's Elizabeth Courtney. So the associate goes back, he looks at the file, he sees Ms. Courtney's petition or whatever, motion, and he sees the opposition. He goes back later in the day, and he says to the partner, well, I looked at this case, and I don't really think we have much of an argument. We're going to lose. So the partner says, you have no chance of winning the case. Just go and do your best. But I'm going to tell you what, as a first-year associate, I'm going to make it really interesting for you. I'm going to give you a $500 bonus if you go to court, and all you have to do is say more words at the hearing than Elizabeth Courtney. I would trust you, or you can get a transcript. But all I want you to do is just talk more than her. So the guy goes, great, this is going to be my first bonus. He goes to the court, they call it Mr. Smith, Liz Courtney for the petitioner, John Jones for the respondent, and the judge says that. So tell me what this case is about. So the associate tries to jump in, and he goes, well, Your Honor, this is what it's about. And he says, Liz just came in, overpowered, couldn't talk for 8 minutes, and he just threw his arms up in the air and walked out lost and didn't get his bonus. Like I said before, Liz is she really is a pillar of the community. She knows everybody, and she always is the life of the party. Nobody is more deserving of a lifetime achievement award than Liz and herself.
Thanks, Mitchell. I'd now like to invite the Honorable Martha Bellinger up to say a few words about Elizabeth Courtney.
I'm truly honored to be here, Elizabeth. I had no idea that I was going to be here. I wrote you and told you I wouldn't be because I was back east for 3 months. And it's only by God's grace that I'm here tonight. There are a lot of funny things that I could share, and maybe just a couple. But first I want to tell you that in March of 1992, I was a Superior Court Commissioner, got sent to Pomona, Family Law, Department C. Every family law attorney's nightmare. A DA, former DA with no family law experience. Well, I did the best I could. One day, short into my time at Pomona, this is exquisitely dressed, pretty woman appeared in my courtroom on a family law case. She was polite, professional, and patient with my learning curve, for which I really appreciated. I soon began to learn that she was that way every time she was in front of me. And if I could tell new attorneys a mantra they should learn about what it means to be a success in the legal profession, it would be to be like Elizabeth Courtney. Polite, prepared, professional. What a credit to the legal profession she really has been. In those early 90s, one of the things that was happening in the law in California, family law, was the appointment of minors counsel in family law matters. Elizabeth was one of the first attorneys to step forward and say, I really want to do this. I want to help kids. And there, our lives really met because I had come from a dependency court assignment, and I think the attorneys finally learned that I wasn't a man's judge or a woman's judge, but I was the kids' judge. And it was for people like Elizabeth who supported me through this time as the only woman sitting in Pomona. So both of us have had the experience of breaking down a few barriers in our time. After I left the family law assignment, Elizabeth didn't leave me. She would come up to the fourth floor where I was doing my preferred assignment in juvenile and see me all the time. And she wanted to make sure that my connection with all of the bar associations in the eastern part of LA were kept solid. So she was always inviting me to the Eastern Bar Association, and she wanted me to know of all the events that were going on in family law, even though I did not serve in that assignment anymore. But the thing that I want to emphasize the most about Elizabeth is her ability to be an outstanding friend. When life gets tough, you need a friend like Elizabeth who helps you get through what's tough and gives you hope and a direction in which to go. She's quite a character. She never forgets my birthday, and I've almost forgiven her for sending me a happy 50th birthday card on my 49th birthday. But she has been at every one of my significant birthday celebrations after that. In the courthouse, I had a 60th birthday. And she showed up as Janis Joplin because I had a 60s theme to this. And to let you know how convincing she was, one of my dear friends came up to me and she said, "That lady over there, is she always like that? She's straight out of the 60s. Does she talk like that all the time?" Elizabeth stayed in character during the whole time. At my retirement, she came as Mae West and gave me and my spouse boas to wear. So the other thing that Elizabeth did is vigorously support my elevation from a commissioner position to a judgeship, ever for helping me. And through her career, she's always sought out new attorneys to mentor. She has always seen that part of her life is intense civic investment of her time. She has always been the one to step up and say, "Okay, I'll be president of the Bar Association for 5 times, 4 times, whatever it is." She has given the community so much that this award tonight is so well deserved. Elizabeth, all I want to say to you is this. You may think that you, in some sense, might be retiring, but you're not going to get to rest on your laurels because the Lord has a lot for you left to do and many years to do it. And may I say that I'm sure, without any doubt, those years are going to be full of love and peace and purpose. And thank you for being my friend, Elizabeth. You're a wonderful, wonderful woman. Yes, need another gentleman to get down. Pride does go before the fall. About 4 years ago, I was awarded a Judge of the Year award by my now defunct alma mater, Whittier. And as I was going down the same part of these risers with no handrails, I tore my Achilles tendon. And that started this whole thing. So tell these hotels they need to, your attorneys out there, get it done.
On behalf of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association, I would like to present Elizabeth Gordon with the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you so much.
is my favorite color. I don't know how they knew, but there we are. So. First of all, I want to thank the board of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association for honoring me with this Lifetime Achievement Award. It is very humbling, and I thank you so very much. I also want to congratulate my other honorees, Karen Diggs, whom I've known for close to 3 decades. She may be Commissioner Gassner's, she may be in that courtroom, but she rules that courtroom. And the idea that she's invisible is ridiculous. I will tell you, she's called me out a few times. She never lets anyone talk over anybody. She stops the whole proceeding. And one of the hardest instructions I have ever taken from her is, will you slow down? So I try my best. Thank you, Karen, for those instructions. I also want to congratulate Michelle Daly. She and I volunteered at the Claremont Colleges for the debate squad. They had a college competition and she was there with me. And not only that, she has also volunteered her time to come and speak at the East-West Family Law Council on the issue of domestic violence. And I really appreciate the fact that she gives of herself and helps out educating our community on very important issues. I also understand she's retiring as well, so we'll have to get together for coffee and enjoy that together. I also want to, first of all, thank my family for coming out tonight to support me, as they've always done throughout my entire legal career. First and foremost, I want to thank my mother, Margaret Courtney, who is here from Long Beach, California. She has been my role model, my mentor, my hero. When few women were in the professional world in the 50s and 60s, my mother, first as a building designer and later as an architect, opened her own business with 8 draftsmen, a secretary, and a partner. And she went on to win many state and national design awards. But I gotta say, if you like In-N-Out burgers, you can thank my mother, because she designed the headquarters for In-N-Out Burger in Baldwin Park and In-N-Out University for making the burgers. After that, she went ahead and designed an additional 28 In-N-Out restaurants for the original In-N-Out when they were really going through their expansion. She got the LA Beautiful Building Award for that. I want to also thank my mom for just being a fabulous mom, a friend, and an incredible role model. Also, I want to thank my sister, who also came up from Lompoc, California. She is retired as an executive director for the Santa Barbara Board of Supervisors, and Judge Staffel was the first supervisor she worked for and helped him be elevated to the Superior Court of Santa Barbara County. The other members of my family who are here, my cousin Marcia Lansden and her husband Gary. And Marcia is retired, and she worked for Chase Bank and was a senior vice president running up through the ranks in a field that very few women get to that position, and I'm so proud of her. Also, her husband Gary is here, and he served in the United States Navy, and then after that decided to become a captain on a tugboat in Seattle, and he's retired as well, but has enjoyed the Southern California weather. My other cousin is here, that's Lindy Alonji, and she worked with the Padres baseball team and helped with the formation of the Quakes Stadium, the epicenter, and she was one who got the sponsors and the advertisers to promote the Quakes Stadium, so we can thank her for her participation in that. Now, I also have a number of great friends here that have really, just of course Martha Bellinger being one of my great friends, but also my friends from high school, which
are really important to me. Gary Lerner and his wife Marcy. And Gary is one of my BFFs. And he has been my friend since I was a sophomore in high school, and he's kept me laughing ever since. He is a phenomenal person and one of the dearest people I've ever known, and talk about a true fabulous friend. He's that guy for me. Anytime I need anything, I just call on Gary. His wife is fabulous as well, and she works in the senior healthcare industry. Alan Cates, also from my high school years, and his wife Sharon. And if you ever bought a Honda motorcycle, you probably bought it from that man, because his family owned the Hacienda Heights Honda and the Ontario Honda location. Now, my other dear friend is Susie Hyman and her beau Sandy Schwartz. And if you ever shopped at Susie's Deals, you can now put a face to the Susie. This is Susie. Susie and I have spent many hours shopping and having a great time, and she's now flipped from being the retail to the wholesale, and I think she likes it a lot better. And Sandy is a phenomenal businessman that helps with that as well. And she moved from Diamond Bar and went down to the beach on me. I don't know why she wanted to live on Lido Island, but you know, it's tough, I guess. Also, I'd like to talk about Patricia Labello with the law firm of Land, Morris and Labello. And she's a past president of the American Italian Bar Association. I bet you didn't know they even had one of those. And she's also a fabulous trust and probate attorney. And her beau, Pedro Garcia, who is originally from Mexico City and an architect, is now on a project in Lompoc, so we're hoping on that. I also would like to honor the Laverne Law School students that I sponsored today. We have two of them. It's Chelsea Stone, who graduated in June and is now sat for the state bar in July, waiting bar results. Remember those days, folks? Very tedious. I told her it's turkey time, and you just hope that letter you get. And I know now it's all electronic. We had to send people down and have them stand in the thing and look, but those are the old days. Yeah, I keep telling everybody I'm pre-whiteout. Okay. The other is Priscilla Souls, and she's a third-year law student, and she has an interest in family law. I'm going to try to warn her, but, you know. I also have Sherry Lynn Berry and Crystal Lyons, who are both with the Laverne Law School. Crystal is the Director of Operations and Budget for the school, and Sherry Lynn is Director of Operations and Development and everything else. So she's jack of all trades over at the law school. Last but absolutely not least, I want to thank my office manager of 29 years, Christina Martinez. And her beau, Caesar, who I finally got to meet tonight. Anyway, simply said, I could not have had the career I did if it weren't for Christina. She kept me on track, she kept me calendared, she kept me centered, and for 29 years, she has been my rock. And I will forever be grateful to her for everything that she did for me. And I know, as Commissioner Gassner said, your team is your team, and without them, you're not good. You got to have a good team. And she's been my team player all along. So thank you so much, Christina. Of course, I want to thank Barry Brandt for his wonderful spot-on introduction, and I want to say that, you know, he's fired two fabulous attorneys here, Brian and Brendan Brandt, in our community, and keeps giving back. And I want to say, if you ever want to play basketball at the YMCA Shoe Center, look up on the placard, and it will have the name Barry Brandt. And Barry is the one who worked his tail off to get that basketball center for the children of Upland. So thank you, Barry, for that. I want to thank everyone for attending tonight, and have an enjoyable evening. And I tell you right now, I'm going to enjoy my retirement. Thank you.
invite up Michael Scafidi to say a few words about Michelle Daly and the Jennifer Brooks Award.
Good evening, everyone. It's my great pleasure to be able to talk a little bit about Michelle Daly. I actually timed my speech. Where's Liz? I timed my speech. It was 5 minutes. I counted yours 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Shapiro offered me $5. $5 if I can beat you. Okay? Wait to see if Rizzi will make it 10 and I'll try for it. Corey Weck out there, some of these PI guys. Karen Diggs, congratulations. To Liz, thank you for everything you've done for our legal community and for all your clients. And you're rocking that outfit tonight for sure. I'd be remiss if I didn't make a little addition to our program. My dear friend and mentor, the man who changed my life, is also a Jennifer Brooks Award winner. Bill Shapiro is here tonight. I'm really proud of Bill. I'm more proud that I got that award before he did. That was pretty cool. He's also a past president of the San Bernardino County Board. Where's Fernando? Fernando, don't worry about confusing me with Judge Sachs. We both have blue suits on tonight. We're both tall, over 6 foot. And we both have anchorman hair. To talk about Michelle, I have to take you all back in time. Back to 1981. You may remember Kim Carnes on the radio singing Betty Davis Eyes. Endless Love by Lionel Richie. Or Jesse's Girl by Rich Springsteen. That year, Michelle, your San Francisco 49ers went 13-3 under Bill Walsh. They did not win the championship that year. It was a year later. That year was the Raiders beating the Eagles. After work, DAs would hang out at Magnolia's Peach on Mountain Avenue, where the West End girls got their name. At night, the West End girls met the cops in Montclair on Central Avenue at Don Jose's. Before I tell you a lot of true heartfelt stories about Michelle, first I have to recognize and tell you a little about Jennifer Brooks. Okay. I'm not going to say a lot about Jennifer because I know Michelle wants to talk about her. After I'm done, John Coach is going to come up. John's going to say some great words about her. But tonight, what I would like to do is I'd like to recognize her family that's here. If I could ask the Brooks family to please stand up. I don't want to embarrass you, but thank you so much for being here. One of the reasons that I joined the Western San Bernardino Bar Association Board is because of the Jennifer Brooks Award. I knew Jennifer only briefly as a lawyer. I wasn't doing a lot of criminal defense law back then. I was doing mostly PI work. But I got to meet her in court several times, and I was just so impressed by her. A young lawyer. Certain people just walk through the courthouse, and you want to know who they are. And she was like that. The Jennifer Brooks Award honors who she is as a person. We call it the 5 C's. Candor, compassion, civility, courage, and competence. Michelle is not the first Jennifer Brooks Award winner, but in my humble opinion, she's the best award winner for that award. She's certainly better than me. When I think about Michelle, I think about when I first met her in 1981. She was a brand new DA working out of the trailers in West End. And back in the day, we had Bob Gazzino, may he rest well. Dave Goodrich, may he rest well. Dan Lowe, John Coaches, Tracy Martell, Mike Martinez, Clyde Boyd, who Bob Gazzino supervised. Just had to watch him. Those were great days. It was a time of Muni Court and Superior Court. As a young cop, you go to Muni Court, maybe you made a mistake, it was okay. It was a place to learn. Same for young lawyers. And same for new judges. There's a sense of safety back then in the Muni and Superior Court split. That's where I first met Michelle. And I gotta tell you, we didn't have anyone like her in the West End when she got here. We got this San Francisco lady, this Latina, who told you what she thought all the time. Especially at Magnolia's Peace and Taco Things. And once in a while, even during a preliminary hearing, she can say what she wants to say. Now, I have a lot of great stories about Michelle that I just can't tell. All right? Not because of the company or anything like that, I really don't care about that. But she has more stuff on me than I have on her. And she's coming up next. So I can't go there. And I promised her husband I wouldn't talk about their first date that I set up. I told him I wouldn't talk about the second date that I set up. I didn't want to tell him when I faked being sick because we had gone to a football game and I sent Greg instead of me. I'm not going to say any of those stories. But what I will talk about is what a great woman she is. What a wonderful, gifted lawyer. Michelle Daly is exactly what a lawyer should be. Smart, intelligent, passionate. The DA's office has lost a great woman to retirement. Talk about her candor. If you want to talk about the Jennifer Brooks Award, candor. Michelle will always tell you what she's thinking. It'll always be from the heart. It won't be a place but from spite or meanness, but she'll tell you what she thinks. Compassion, beyond compassion. I can't tell how many times I went to see Michelle in the DA's office and she's on the phone with a victim, tears in her eyes, figure out a way to help that person. That led to her partnerships with House of Ruth and many women's shelters throughout the West End, the East End, and the East Valley. It was Michelle by herself, one of the founders of the Family Violence Unit, which I don't know how many DAs they have now in the Family Violence Unit, but back then it was Michelle. She was a trailblazer. Civility, absolutely, but don't cross her. Don't cross her. In the courtroom or at Thanksgiving dinner. She gets the leg, okay? I'm going to skip courage for a second, because I want to finish with courage with Michelle. I want to talk about confidence. I don't believe there is a lawyer in this room, or quite frankly in any room in this country, certainly this state, that knows the California Evidence Code better than Michelle did. She constantly would field calls from lawyers all over, other deputy DAs. We have a couple of DA tables back there. I see deputy DAs back there. I see Dan Lowe's son. It's always good to see him. Michelle had the answer like that. I introduced her to her husband, who happened to be my brother-in-law, married my wife's sister. That had a hidden benefit later on. When I started doing criminal defense, Michelle conflict off cases that I had. Hundreds of thousands of dollars paid for that. Hundreds. I had lawyers call me, hey, I got Michelle on this case. I'm telling my guy he's going to hire you. She conflicts off. I actually thought about doing a big ad program in the West End on the freeways. Hire me, you don't get hurt. That's true. Michelle's retiring, he's hit my pocketbook. Okay? All right? I got DAC and giving out cards later. We got a $5,000 special on DUIs. Tonight, everyone that's here from my office is wearing pink. It's Cancer Awareness Month. We lost one of our partners, Ron Powell, on May 23rd to cancer, 11 days after being diagnosed, 1 day after my mom died of cancer. I honor them tonight in their memory, but more importantly, I honor my sister-in-law, Michelle Daly, a cancer survivor. When Michelle was diagnosed with cancer, didn't feel sorry for herself. Just like in the courtroom, when things got tough, Michelle got tougher. And she fought and fought and fought. And she turned her illness into a cause. She has run the Power of Pink, which will be this Sunday at Pomona Valley Hospital, for the past 25 years, no, 13 years. Where's Brad? Get up here, buddy. 13 years. Started out 20 people. Hundreds upon hundreds now. Michelle spreads that message every day that if I survived, you can survive. That Power of Pink empowers all victims of cancer to be strong, to continue their fight. Michelle's greatest victory was not in the courtroom. It's her giving back and giving strength to all women afflicted with breast cancer. And she will never, ever retire from that. To Michelle, I love you. You're the strongest woman I know, and I will always be there for you. Thank you.
I would now like to invite up John Coaches to say a few words about Michelle Daly.
Good evening. I had the pleasure and the privilege of working with both Michelle Daly for over 35 years and Jennifer Brooks for 5 years. And they were both unique, dynamic, impressive attorneys. They came from very different backgrounds. Jennifer was a blonde Irish-American from Orange County, USC graduate. And Michelle was a Latina lawyer from San Francisco and a Cal graduate. But they got together and they found common ground and they remained friends. Michelle was Jennifer's mentor. And they remained friends even after September of 2003, when in the third quarter overtime, Cal kicked a field goal. And in spite of that experience, Jennifer would continue to volunteer to finish Michelle's calendar in the afternoon so Michelle could rush off to see Rory in one of his soccer games. Michelle Daly joined us in 1981, and as Mike mentioned, she had a very distinguished career in the DA's office. She was one of the first West End gang prosecutors. She was the first West End crimes against children lawyer, and she tried a large number of very important murder cases, robbery cases, and rape cases. She spent the entire career in the West End, first in Ontario, then in Rancho. And because of her abilities and her success, we sent her to Chino for a couple of years where she ran the Chino office, kept the cases moving, mentored young lawyers, and made sure the courtrooms were adequately staffed. She returned to Rancho, and during her career, that's when Jennifer Brooks entered our life. Jennifer came from a family of lawyers. Her father was a successful Orange County lawyer and then a Superior Court judge. Her sister, Shar, was an attorney. And Jennifer, like Michelle, came to our office with all this energy, all this enthusiasm, always a smile and always a positive outlook. Michelle immediately adopted her, became her mentor, folded Jennifer into Michelle's Thursday afternoon lunch group, and they became colleagues and they became friends. They both took their dedication to the DA's office and the victims very seriously. Jennifer moved up quickly like Michelle, and when Jennifer left us, she was assigned a series of murder cases. Michelle tried the most serious cases our office prosecutes, but her passion for decades and to this day is family violence. And it's a very difficult type of case to handle. The victims are conflicted, they don't want to come to court. The family often lines up on two sides, even in the case of a death. Part of the family allies with the victim, the decedent. The other part allies with the accused who's in jail. Michelle never shied away from that type of challenge. And she handled over the course of her career over 1,000 domestic violence cases. The other thing Jennifer and Michelle had in common was their commitment to the community. As Mike mentioned, Michelle was very active in Project Sister, the House of Ruth. She's a law school professor. She's donated countless hours, evenings and weekends, to help those organizations, teaching them and mentoring their workers. Jennifer was also very active in the community. There was nothing she wouldn't do for her friends. Both Jennifer and Michelle were dedicated to their families. Michelle was very dedicated to her mother and father before they passed. Jennifer spoke highly often of her mom, her sister, and her father. They both had balance in their life. Jennifer had a lot of friends. Michelle's had a lot of friends. And as Mike pointed out, in addition to being a very successful lawyer, Michelle's a wife. Her husband Greg is here. She's the very proud mother of the former Damien CIF soccer star, who's also a West End lawyer. And she has countless friends. They had that in common. Now, I really wish tonight's format was completely different. All of us would be much happier if Jennifer was here, seated with her mother and her sister, to congratulate Michelle on this award. It was not meant to be. On the fourth floor of the DA's office, where Michelle and I worked for over 35 years, there's a plaque in Jennifer's honor, and her photograph is on the plaque. And it's Jennifer, smiling, enthusiastic, full of energy, and full of good spirit. And I know she's smiling down on us today. This award of the West End Bar Association means a lot to Michelle. Not only to be acknowledged for her professionalism, her success, and her competence, but to receive an award that is given in honor of her mentee, her colleague, and her friend. So would you please join me with a round of applause in welcoming Michelle Bailey to the stage to receive.
Okay, I've warned several of you already. You know, for the last several weeks, I've got lots of time to think about what it is that I wanted to say tonight, and I found that every time I was sitting there and thinking about it, I started thinking about Jennifer, and I started crying. And I talked to John earlier this week, and we were talking about Jennifer, and I know he could hear my voice break when we were talking on the phone. Today I was trying to make my notes because there's so much that I want to say. Nobody told me there was a 5-minute limit. There's so much that I wanted to say. And I knew that I didn't want to miss anything because I didn't write it down. So I apologize in advance. This is a very emotional event for me because Jennifer meant a lot to me. We all have events that we will always remember where we were when they happened. When JFK was shot, I was sitting in my second grade classroom when the principal came out over the loudspeaker and said the president's been shot. when 9/11 happened, I was sitting at home when I was getting my son Rory ready for school, and my husband Greg came bursting through the door in his scrubs coming home from work. And he said, "Michelle, turn on the television. The Twin Towers, one of the Twin Towers has been hit by a plane." And for me, the day that we lost Jennifer is one of those days. I was on the elevator, Michelle time, it wasn't 8:30. I was riding up, and I remember the elevator stopped on the second floor, the doors opened, and there was standing one of my colleagues, Carlos Cesare, and he just had this shocked look on his face. And he looked, and I go, "Carlo, what's the matter?" And he goes, "Jennifer Brooks was killed in a car accident on her way to work." And I remember just feeling absolutely stunned. And there were many hearts that were broken that day. Her family, her friends, her colleagues. Jennifer was a very, very special lady. She had been with the district attorney's office for about 5 years and was hitting her stride as a lawyer. She was trying felonies and growing by leaps and bounds. But she was so much more. And she didn't need to grow anymore as a person because she was already fantastic. You can see in this picture that she had a beautiful and warm smile. And that smile reflected the kindness of her heart and the depths of her generosity. She loved people, and she showed it in many ways. She would bring little treats for our clerical staff for the holidays to make them feel special, to make them feel appreciated. She would volunteer, actually, she wouldn't volunteer, she would insist. On a Friday afternoon, mind you, Michelle, you have that one case left. Let me finish it so you can make it to Rory's soccer game. On a Friday afternoon, that's really saying something. She would go and she would sit with a friend of ours whose wife was very ill and who was dying. And the rest of us were kind of busy with our families. It's not that we didn't care, but we were busy. And Jennifer had more time, and she would go all the way to UCLA and sit with him as he was going through that. She gave back through her charitable work, especially through the alumni portion of the sorority that she had belonged to in college. And the last email that I received from Jennifer, which I kept until it was time to close my email account with the district attorney's office, was an email saying, "Hey, my sorority we're having a rummage sale, and if any of you have any stuff that you could donate, I'm going to come pick it up so we can put it in our rummage sale." And it was to raise money for women who were receiving treatment, I believe for heart problems, I don't remember exactly what it was, at one of our local hospitals. And Jennifer was one of these people who was truly, truly interested in what was going on in her friends' lives. She would always ask me about how my son Rory was doing, because those last months of Jennifer's life, Rory was completing his Eagle Scout rank. And I dragged my friends, Marby and Nancy, Jennifer, Michael, all around the west end of San Bernardino County, trying to find a location where I could have a Eagle Court of Honor, find a caterer, and because I wanted it to be special. And Jennifer was into it. Which one had we decided on? We talked about, the decor had to be red, white, and blue. And he had achieved his rank, but had not had his award ceremony at the time that Jennifer left us. And I remember that I, my son, and my family were truly honored when Jennifer's family asked if Rory and other Boy Scouts could be the court of honor, the color guard, at her funeral rather than law enforcement. And so we went to council and we asked, even though Rory hadn't received, hadn't been, had the kerchief put on, would it be okay if he wore it that one day so that he could lead that color guard in Jennifer's honor? She loved new places, to meet new people, and to try new foods. She especially loved the Irish people. We had an Irish exchange student, and I brought him in to show him the office where I worked, and he met Jennifer. There was an instant bond. And I remember him telling me when we were driving home that afternoon, I like that Jennifer. and she was beyond nice. On the surface, ours was an unlikely friendship. As they've mentioned, she was an early 30s Orange County girl who had gone to USC. And Jennifer always looked the proper DA. She had the blue suit, the pearls, perfectly coiffed. I, on the other hand, was the mid-40s San Francisco girl who had gone to school at the People's Republic of Berkeley and who, showed up in the brightest colors that I could get John Coaches not to mention, not to notice. But Jennifer, when she came to the office, had become fast friends with another woman that we lost prematurely by the name of Demisha Goldman. And I know tonight they're looking down and going, you did it, girl, you did it. And I was Demisha's self-designated big sister. When she had joined the office, I had taken her, I'd gone into her office. We didn't have an official mentor program at that time. I walked in and I closed the door and I go, guess what? I'm here to make sure that you're a success. I'm your big sister now.
Good, Michelle.
So when Jennifer joined the office, she was family too. There was a group of us. It was Marby, Nancy, Mike Dowd, me, Jennifer. And we would get together every Thursday, if not sooner, but every Thursday we would go to BC Cafe in Rancho Cucamonga and Foothill, and we would have breakfast for lunch. And while we were there, we would solve the world's problems. We would talk about things that were going on in our world, in our country, in our county, in our office. And our political philosophies and our demographics ran the gamut. Liberal, moderate, conservative, male, female, white, black, and brown. We all came from different backgrounds, but we came together. There was no name calling. There was no ridiculing. We listened to each other. We learned from each other. And many, many times we agreed to disagree. But we would come back the next week and we would talk again. Jennifer's father had been a DA and was a judge. And Jennifer wanted to follow in his footsteps as a DA, but at the same time she wanted to be her own person. Her mom had also gone to graduate school and had earned her master's. My life's path was a little bit different. My mother was the only one on either side of my family that had ever graduated from college. And we actually started graduate school together. I wanted to be a lawyer since I was 10 years old. At that time, my mom was running a legal secretary service, helping out sole practitioners when their secretaries would be on vacation or unavailable, or if they didn't have a secretary. And I earned my allowance by helping her proofread her briefs. And the two of us would watch Perry Mason together. I was afraid of the murder part, so I would sit on the stairs until that part was over, but then I would go and I would sit there mesmerized, watching the courtroom scenes. And I remember asking my mother, what is it that lawyers do? And she said, they help people. And then I had an aha moment, because there was one episode, and I know I'm dating myself. There has to be some people in the room who remember this. But there was a time period where Raymond Burr was injured and had surgery, whatever. There was several episodes one year that he wasn't there. And one of the people who filled in for him on one of those episodes was Betty Davis. And I remember turning to my mother and saying, Mom, ladies can be lawyers too? And she said, Mija, you could be anything that you want to be, as long as you work hard and put forth your best. And at that moment I said, I'm going to be a lawyer. I planned my road carefully. At 10 years old, I had decided I'm going to the University of California, Berkeley. And after I go there, I'm going to go to their law school. And I put my nose to the grindstone, and I worked very hard to try to accomplish that. One of my early mentors was the chief counsel at the federally funded community-based law firm that I worked for in San Francisco. I worked there my last 2 years of law school because my mother told me, you know, maybe you want to go and see what it's like at the law firm before you decide that that's what you want to do, see what it's like. And I worked there my last 2 years of law school, and I worked there my years, I'm going to say last 2 years of undergrad and when I was in law school. And we did criminal defense, immigration, and welfare advocacy. And my plan at that time, and we had done some impact litigation involving the police department in San Francisco. And my plan at that time was to continue to do criminal defense. And Tito took me aside one day and he said, you know, can I talk to you? And I said, sure. He goes, I know you've started doing your interviews, you know, you're getting ready to get out. He goes, I need to talk to you. I have a suggestion. I go, what's that? He goes, I think you need to be a prosecutor. I go, say what? A prosecutor. I go, right, you are tough. And he says, no. He goes, I mean that seriously. And I go, are you kidding me? Me? Prosecutor? And he said, you know, Michelle, he says, one of the complaints that we always make in the Latino community is that no one takes into consideration our point of view. He says unless somebody is willing to go into the system and bring that point of view, it's never going to change. He said, you have the credentials, having gone to Berkeley and Berkeley's law school, to bring it. He goes, bring who you are with you and always remember where you came from. And I've tried to do that for the last 37 years. And it wasn't the easiest road. And I'm not saying this to say, oh my God, when I started I had to walk 10 miles. No, it's not. And actually one of the board members, Dean McVeigh, asked me to share some of this with you. But a lot of it's to say this is how far we've come, but we still have far to go. At one interview with the district attorney's office in Northern California, one of the interviewing attorneys looked at me, and he didn't say it, you know, so tell us why it would be appropriate for us to hire you. He goes, what is it that you really think you have to offer us? In that tone. But San Bernardino County gave me a chance. I remember Mike McDowell said to me, you know, if we hire someone who's already conservative, they'll be Attila the Hun by the time they spend many years here. The work can have its impact and can make you cynical. And the road did not get easier. The first week I was in the office, I had a male attorney ask me to get him some coffee. I had another attorney, also male, tell me, you know you're only hired because you're a twofer. I said, what? Because you're a woman and you're a Latina. And I said it to myself, I didn't say it out loud because I wasn't quite as assertive as I am now. Well, the fact that I went to one of the top 5 law schools in the country didn't have anything to do with it, did it? I kept that to myself. I had a judge tell me in front of a packed courtroom that he was appalled that the interests of the state of California rested in my incompetent hands. All because he had sent the lawyer who was handling the case to another courtroom and kept the disposition there, and offered to help my friend take care of the plea when he left. I had a police officer demand that the little girl be taken off of his case. During jury selection in one of my first felonies, I had a juror stand up in front of the courtroom and tell the entire courtroom, including the judge, that he couldn't be fair because that female DA shouldn't be taking a man's job. But God bless Judge Barth. I saw some light that day in the courtroom because he says, you know what, sir? He said, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Because he said that would be the waste of a fine line. The first months in the DA's office were often lonely. The only other female attorney in Ontario at the time was on maternity leave for 6 months. And it was the female public defenders, such as Kyle Brody's grandmother, Ellen Brody, who saw me struggling to find who I was and where I was going. And I think they probably saw the look on my face where I'm like, maybe I need to go back to San Francisco. Who would take me aside and go, hang in there, is there anything we can do for you? Unfortunately, it was common to hear racial and gender jokes in the hallways. And I would retreat to my office, close the door, and I felt very isolated. And then I got sent to juvenile, and there I worked with a wonderful man by the name of Mike Hewitt. And I didn't really appreciate all that Mike did for me when I was there. There was a judge, and I won't mention any names, who was quite the bully. And Mike took me aside and he says, I'm going to sit you in that courtroom every afternoon. And I thought, what did I do to you? And he said to me, because you have the makings of a fine lawyer. He goes, but you need to learn to be more assertive. Y'all created this monster. He said, don't let him pick on you, don't let anyone pick on you. I took it to heart and I said, I'm going to try even harder. If I have to be twice as good to be respected as much, that's what I'm going to do. And more women started coming into the office, and I did my best to try to mentor them, even though I didn't know a whole lot. And finally, I got up the gumption to those who continued to tell inappropriate jokes in the hallway that they needed to go into their office, close the door, and tell their jokes there, and stop polluting my workplace. I enjoyed my career, and I enjoyed the assignments that I had, but somewhere, something inside was missing. I became a lawyer because I wanted to help people. And I was vain enough to say, not only do I want to help people, because as a deputy DA, I try to do that every day, but I wanted to make a difference. And then I went to my first domestic violence training. And I thought, hey, it's a free visit home to San Francisco. Sounds good to me. But when I left that training on domestic violence after several days, I left with my eyes open and a new determination. Dennis Dowd isn't here tonight, but I would like to thank him publicly for encouraging me to start our domestic violence unit. And to Dennis Dowd and to Mike Ramos for continuing to fund our unit even after the state of California had taken away the funding for domestic violence prosecutions, not from our county, but from all the counties. I want to say thank you to the thousands of domestic violence victims that crossed my life path. I learned so much from them, and I learned to admire their bravery, in the face of adversity. I want to say thank you to my colleagues from the DA's office, especially the Family Violence Unit. Yeah, we have a hard job. Had a hard job. I'm officially retired. We had a hard job, but we always hung together, and we made each day special. I wanted to give back more. I wanted to give back more to young people. I've always had a special place in my heart for young people. And I have had the honor of being invited to come and teach at the University of Laverne College of Law in 2005. And I appreciate the chance that was given to me to demonstrate to my students, especially my young women of color, that you can do it. And the big secret, I've learned more from them than they've learned from me. October is a special month for me. It's not only Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but it's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, my second passion. This one found me, I didn't find it. And Mike mentioned the power of pink, and I would just like to give you guys a little bit of background. In 2006, I had known how to knit and crochet for a couple of years, and I read in the newspaper, not newspaper, I read online, I'm sorry, about a woman who was collecting pink scarves to give to, she was going to send them to the American Cancer Association to be distributed to breast cancer patients during the month of October. So I had a group of women, one of whom is here. She's always been very special to me. She's my everything when it comes to running the Power of Pink. There's Cynthia right there. And I'm gonna make a couple of scarves, and if you guys want to bring them to me next month when we have dinner together, in all mail form. And then I thought about it, and I thought, wait a minute, why am I sending scarves somewhere else when my husband works for a wonderful hospital, the Lone Valley Hospital, that has a wonderful cancer center? We could give our scarves to them. So I asked another friend of mine who owns Stamp Your Heart Out, where I worked for 23 years. I moonlighted. I think it's what helped me stay sane. I know some people question that, but it helped me whether or not I'm still safe. But you know, it helped me, I think, not become as cynical as I think I could have become because of the work that I did. But I asked her, do you mind putting that out in our weekly, you know, email blast and let people know that we're collecting scarves? And I thought, well, we'll maybe get 100. Well, we got over 400 scarves that year. And if you know anything about me, you know I love a good fiesta. And so I had said to Joan, the owner of Stamp Your Heart Out, hey, can we have a little party in the breezeway? And I thought maybe 10 people will show up, and I think we probably had 50 people show up. And we have gone on, as Mike said, we're now on our 13th year. And this Sunday is our party. We have donated well over 12,000 scarves to many local hospitals. We've given them to a clinic in Mexico, and I keep some back. So if you ever have someone in your life that's touched by breast cancer, and you want to give them a scarf, please let me know, because we will give them a scarf. And we have raised thousands of dollars that go to the Breast Health Fund at the Mona Valley, and that is part of that. The Breast Health Fund is part of their foundation, and that money goes to help breast cancer patients. Because when, you know, and a lot of it is educational materials. And what happened is 3 days before our first party, I found out that I have breast cancer. And I said, wait a minute, God, I'm turning 50 in 3 days. This is a little rude, dude. You know, breast cancer and turning 50. But I found out that Sunday in the breezeway how much support there is for women, men, and families that are on that journey in fighting breast cancer. And it meant so much to me as I went through that journey, and I wanted to do what I could, and I've tried to do what I can to help other women, men, and families that find themselves in that position. Shar and Mrs. Brooks, thank you so much for being here. You don't know how much it means to me. You know, they say that behind every good man is a good woman. Well, I don't know how good I am, but I have a wonderful man behind me. He has been there through thick and thin, the loss of my parents, cancer. He made the sacrifice for about the first 15 years of his career that he would work nights. Great guy. so that our son would have somebody during the day who would be able to go to all of the, field trips and all those other things that I wasn't able to go to because I'm not criticizing, but the courts weren't particularly family friendly at that point. But Rory always had somebody that was there for him. Not too long ago, somebody asked me, Michelle, are you disappointed that your son Rory has become a defense attorney? And I said, not at all. I am very proud of him. Because I recognize that we are two sides of the coin. Be we civil practitioners or be we criminal practitioners. We need to have vigorous and ethical advocates for both sides. And it's when we do our job the right way on both sides that we prevent chaos in our community. And we need to have, our community needs to know that we are diverse and that all of our points of view, everyone's conservative, liberal, moderate, black, brown, yellow, green, polka dot, whatever you are, that you're part of the system and that your voice is being heard. Thank you to the board of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association for believing that I am worthy to be mentioned in the same sentence as Jennifer Brooks. Good night.
Coming tonight, please take a look under your chairs. There's an envelope taped at the bottom. The winner will get a table centerpiece or a free membership in our organization for a year. Please remember that we're having Law Day at the University of Laverne on October 20th, and that on November 8th we are having a MCLE at the University of Laverne that has fingerprinting. And on December 8th, there's the Toys for Tots party. And March 2019 is the Judicial Officer of the Year dinner. Thank you very much. Take care.